Have you ever wondered how a young king plagued by a debilitating disease could lead his kingdom to numerous victories? This is the extraordinary tale of Baldwin IV, a boy king who faced the unimaginable and still rose to power. Born into the ruling class, Baldwin was destined for a life of leadership. But fate had other plans. At a tender age, he was diagnosed with leprosy, a disease that was as misunderstood as it was feared. Yet this did not deter young Baldwin. He carried his title with dignity, not as a burden, but as a badge of honor. In the year of 1174, he ascended to the throne of Jerusalem, a throne that would see victories and losses, triumphs and trials, all under the rule of a king whose physical limitations were eclipsed by his fortitude. His story is one of courage and determination, a king who refused to let his physical limitations define his reign. Inheriting a kingdom as a teenager comes with its own set of challenges. Picture this: you're not yet 20, and you've been thrust onto the throne of Jerusalem. This was the reality for Baldwin IV, a young king who found himself in the midst of political chaos. At the onset, Baldwin's reign was rocked by internal strife. Noble families vied for power, each seeking to control the young monarch and thus the kingdom. The court of Jerusalem was a nest of intrigue, filled with whispers and backstabbing, a veritable snake pit where the slightest misstep could spell disaster. Yet Baldwin was no puppet. He demonstrated a political acumen beyond his years, managing to keep the noble families in check. He played them against each other, ensuring that no single faction could gain enough power to overthrow him. It was a high-stakes game of chess, and Baldwin was proving to be a master player. External threats, too, were a constant concern. From the encroaching Seljuk Turks to the neighboring Fatimid Caliphate, Baldwin's kingdom was surrounded by enemies. But the young king was undeterred. He rallied his forces, led them into battle, and despite his tender age and the debilitating disease of leprosy that was slowly consuming him, he held his ground. His military strategies were daring, often catching his enemies off guard. He was a king who led from the front, inspiring his men with his bravery and resolve. His victories on the battlefield strengthened his position at home, silencing those who doubted his ability to rule. Baldwin's early reign was a constant struggle, a balancing act of diplomacy, strategy, and sheer determination. He had to be a politician, a military leader, and a king, all while battling a disease that was slowly eating away at him. Through cunning and sheer willpower, Baldwin navigated these tumultuous waters, but the greatest challenges were yet to come. His early reign set the stage for what would be a reign filled with trials and triumphs, a testament to the resilience of a young king faced with overwhelming adversity. Baldwin IV's reign was not just about survival, it was about victory. This is a tale of triumph against all odds, a story of a king fighting not just his adversaries, but his own debilitating disease as well. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The victories of King Baldwin IV were not just his own, but those of his kingdom. His reign was characterized by significant victories that shaped the future of his kingdom and his own reputation. One such victory that stands out is the Battle of Montgisart. It was a battle that was more than just a clash of swords and shields. It was a testament to Baldwin's strategic acumen and leadership. The Battle of Montgisart, fought in November 1177, was a confrontation between Baldwin IV and the mighty Saladin. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Baldwin IV led his forces with such valor and strategic brilliance that the battle turned in their favor. The victory was so decisive that it sent shockwaves through the region, cementing Baldwin IV's reputation as a formidable leader. This wasn't an isolated event. Throughout his reign, Baldwin IV demonstrated an uncanny ability to turn the tide of battle in his favor. His victories were not just military successes, they were psychological victories as well. They boosted the morale of his people, instilling in them a deep sense of pride and belief in their king. But Baldwin IV's victories were not just about military brilliance. They were also about resilience. Despite suffering from leprosy, a disease that progressively weakened him, he refused to let it define him. Instead, he used it as a catalyst to push harder, to fight stronger, to lead better. His victories, therefore, were as much a triumph over his condition as they were over his adversaries. These victories, these moments of triumph, shaped the kingdom and Baldwin's reputation. His leadership ensured that his kingdom remained a force to be reckoned with, even in the face of overwhelming odds. and his resilience, his refusal to give in to his disease, made him an inspiration to his people. Despite his disease, King Baldwin IV proved to be a formidable leader, guiding his kingdom to victories against all odds. His story, his victories, are a testament to the indomitable spirit of a king who refused to be defined by his disease but by his victories. Behind the victories and the crown was a man battling a relentless disease. Baldwin IV, despite his royal stature, was not exempt from the trials of life. He was diagnosed with leprosy at a tender age, a disease that ravaged his body yet failed to conquer his spirit. The effects of this illness were far-reaching, extending beyond the physical pain and discomfort. It affected his personal life, limiting his ability to engage in activities that were once second nature. His ability to rule was also impacted, as the disease often left him bedridden and unable to attend to his kingly duties. However, Baldwin IV was not one to succumb to adversity. His resilience and determination were awe-inspiring. Even as his body was being eaten away by the disease, his resolve remained intact. He continued to rule, to fight, to live with an unyielding spirit that defied the odds. Even as his body weakened, his spirit remained unbroken. Baldwin IV's reign came to an end too soon, but his legacy lives on. Despite the brevity of his time on the throne, Baldwin IV left an indelible mark on the Kingdom of Jerusalem. He was a king of contradictions, a warrior with a debilitating disease, a child ruler who outsmarted seasoned adversaries. He navigated his kingdom through turbulent times, winning unlikely victories and earning the respect of friend and foe alike. His reign was characterized by his tactical brilliance and courage in the face of adversity. Baldwin IV's personal life was no less extraordinary. His struggle with leprosy portrayed a king who was not only a fearless leader, but also an individual with immense personal resilience. His legacy is a testament to his unyielding determination and strategic acumen. The Kingdom of Jerusalem, in the time of Baldwin IV, experienced a period of relative peace and prosperity. Today, he is remembered as a symbol of bravery and resilience. King Baldwin IV, a testament to the indomitable human spirit, continues to inspire us centuries after his passing.